Toon Jam. Toon Jam. Hello, spooky audience, Buzz, and welcome to another spooky episode of Toon Jam. It is spooky month, aka October, so we have been covering some spooky cartoons. We have done Mummies Alive and what was it last week?
Toon Sylvania.
Sylvania, yes, how could I forget? But this week it's time to dip in, as we like to do. Let's head back to Europe. British cartoon episode. Grizzly for a British person. You may I doubt you. I mean, you may have done if you're from outside of Britain, but maybe you haven't. And so I will tell you all about it. Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids is a British animated television series based on the children's book series of the same name by Jamie Ricks. After the first three books were published from 1990 to 1996, Carlton Television adapted the short stories into 10-minute cartoons for ITV, produced by themselves, Honeycomb Animation and Rix's production company, Elephant Productions. It aired on CITV between January 2000 and October 2006, with 6 series and 78 episodes, as well as a New Year's Eve special that was over 20 minutes longer than other episodes.
Oh.
It's weird that they did that for New Year's and not like Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay. Who am I to judge? The series returned in a new format for Nicktoons UK, with 26 episodes split into 2 series under the name Grizzly Tales, also known as Grizzly Tales, the Cautionary Tales for Lovers of Scream. I can see why they shortened that. And that aired between May 2011 and November 2012. Both of the series have been nominated for BAFTAs, and the CITV series has received numerous international awards from animated film festivals. Both have been popular on their respective channels. The CITV series has often been re-aired on Nickelodeon with the Nicktoons series. It's available on DVD, several different DVDs, VHSs too, if you're still going by that.
Unfortunate for
you.
Yeah.
Fun fact as well, the intro bit, it starts with sort of a spooky intro, but it's done in claymation instead of traditional animation. Then it goes into the traditional animations, but later on, here's my fun fact, they used Adobe Flash to animate it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it must have been pretty cheap to produce, I imagine. So yeah, there you go. A slightly disappointing fun fact today, but sorry about that. So Grizzly Tales.
Who's going to have made this? Who? The claymation. What's the secret behind this? And it's like, oh, they use Flash.
I must say though, Carlton Television, going back to that, that was a real blast from the past. Seeing that,
I know, I thought that as well.
Sort of mark at the end, I was like, oh yeah, this is like, I remember seeing this on so many things when we were younger.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember specifically what else they did.
Yeah, our doctors used to be on a street called Carlton Street, so I was like, oh yeah, sick, Carlton Street.
Oh yeah, that must be made it.
Made local.
I'm just looking now at the list of their titles, and there's loads of Transylvania Pet Shop.
Yeah,
that's on there. There's a lot that I just don't recognise. A version of the Railway Children,
Oh.
Noah's Ark.
Oh yeah.
Did a version of that. Not to be confused with Noah's Island.
Ah, that's what I was thinking.
I thought you might have done. Bananas in Pyjamas.
Ah, yeah, that's a winner.
Yeah, you'll remember that one. Family Fortunes. I guess it wasn't just cartoons, which is probably why we recognise it.
Yeah, stopped on the end of everything.
Yeah, so they did. Yeah, they literally did do everything. There's like Carlton Sport, Carlton Debate.
Ah, that sounds lame.
They did a wide variety of different things, which is why you recognise them. But hey ho, let's enough about Carlton now. Probably going down a little wormhole there, that rabbit hole even that no one cares about.
There's like one hardcore Carlton fan out there, like, say more,
say more,
tell me more,
tell me more, tell me more. But no, Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids. Did you ever watch this?
Yeah, I did catch a few episodes back in the day, and if I remember rightly, my sister used to really enjoy it. So, yeah, I've heard the theme many a time. And,
yeah.
Sat through a few of their weird morality tales. What about you?
It's a bit sort of late for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the audience it's aimed at, and the sort of the time it came out. So I guess I would have been just going to secondary school. Well, I would have been in year 6. You'd have been in secondary school. So, you know, it's sort of getting around there. So I did watch it, I think, but I don't remember seeing many. I wonder if I saw the Nicktoons one, because this, again, could have been around the time I didn't have ITV.
Oh, no.
Because of the lightning strike on the aerial.
The matte blackout.
Yeah, so CITV stuff after a certain time goes, but I did recognise it. I recognised the guy at the start with the weird claymation stuff. Yeah. So maybe I did see some repeats occasionally on Nickelodeon. But yeah, I wasn't too acquainted with it, but I knew enough to know what I was getting into.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much as I imagined it and vaguely remembered it. The first thing I'll say, like, I kind of wish, having watched it, that it was all in claymation.
I know, yeah.
Because the claymation bit was really horrible.
Yeah.
Really that was Grizzly and Gruesome.
Yeah. I like the way it looks.
Yeah, and it helps that the guy's like some weird Cockney fella.
Yeah, it's a weird guy. It's Nigel Planer who narrates it, isn't it? I think.
Yes.
Yeah. He was like a really mild character in the young ones. He was like the hippie guy. He was really chilled out.
Yeah.
But in this, he's very different.
Yeah. Well, he does pretty much all the voice work for it, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's very like leans into it hard.
Yeah. He does a good job, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And he goes overboard with it, but it works.
Yeah.
So the episode we watched was something about a nanny. I can't remember the name completely.
Yeah, nanny, I think, or something.
Yeah, shenanigans.
That's what it should have been called.
That's what it should have been called. Well, essentially, these kids are horrible to their nanny, and then they end up having 3 different weird animals as nannies because their parents are so busy they don't really notice or care.
Yeah.
And eventually they learn their lesson when a crocodile eats them and then lays them as eggs.
Yeah.
You know, naturally.
And then their parents almost eat them.
Yeah, they boil them.
Yeah.
And then they hatch. It's quite a weird story, but
yeah,
it said it's a grisly tale.
It defies modern science. What the things that occurred during the end. Yeah, but
it's so like the first thing I'll say above all else is it's so British.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I thought to myself, you're not going to like this.
Yeah, that's what
It's
I thought.
this is like Banana Man that you can hear.
Yeah, that was the one thing that saved Banana Man, was that I didn't hear most of it.
But it's like visually, it looks somehow like the art style is British cartoon.
Mm.
The voice, obviously, you know, with it being the guy from the Young
The Young
Ones.
Ones, yeah. Super British.
It's super British.
Yeah.
But it's weird how something can look like a cartoon can look British.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's to do with sort of the houses. It's set in London.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't really look like London.
No, I think just maybe like the shapes of the faces of like the characters and stuff, like they all kind of look like they're from British comics or something. Like,
yeah, like your Beano and your Dandy.
Yeah, they're all very round faces and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it does look like, obviously CITV did Dennis the Menace, didn't they? Or was it CITV or was it CBBC? Either way, it was a British cartoon.
Yeah, one of them did. Yeah.
One of them did. I think it might be CBBC because I watched that.
Yeah.
That makes me think, you know.
Oh yeah, maybe it was. I don't remember.
Either way,
British,
and this sort of smacks of it. The claymation as well. Claymation tends to be more British.
Yeah, thanks to like Aardman and stuff, I suppose.
Do you know what I would argue? And maybe we should do a sort of claymation sort of season, if you will. If you guys at home are interested in a claymation season, let us know.
Send clay to our home address.
And we'll perform in clay. But yeah, let us know on that one. But I think as far as I'm aware, we do claymation a bit better.
Right.
I believe.
Maybe
but
so,
I think
yeah.
I'm just thinking of like Aardman.
Yeah, well, I mean, like they're pretty seasoned in it, aren't they? So it would make sense. Like, you know, that studio's had a lot of, like, they've been going for years. So.
Well, when you think, I mean, the big claymation companies, you've got Aardman. You've got what's the one that did like Coraline?
Oh yeah.
That's like European, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Scandinavian or something.
Oh, I can't remember what they're called now.
It came to me then and I've lost it. But yeah, there's people screaming it.
Yeah.
People screaming it at us. But yeah, those guys. Leica, yeah. Yeah. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
And then in America, I guess you've just got who does the animation for Tim Burton?
Yeah, those guys.
So, but you know, Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah. Although, is it all clay though? Is it not? Some of it is just like different stop motion stuff. Yeah, like some of them are different rigged figures, aren't they? Like,
yeah, but I think that's the case with all of it as well. I know there's some Aardman stuff that like the Were-Rabbit.
Right.
I'm sure that had metal parts and stuff like that.
Yeah. The clay looks like way more old school though, doesn't it? Like, when you can tell it's clay, like this kind of looks like you can see people's like thumbs have been.
Yeah, well that's. I was lucky enough to go to Aardman Studios, and they told me all about it, and they said that they purposely leave marks now.
Right. Yeah.
Because when they did Chicken Run. They didn't do it. They did it as smooth as they could because it was their first sort of film.
Right.
They wanted to do it as smooth as possible, but they weren't as happy with it because they felt like it lost some of its character.
Right.
So that's why you'll see in Wallace and Gromit they always have the odd thumbprint or like wobbly plasticine bit.
Yeah, no, that makes sense as well. Like because it sort of loses its authenticity almost. Like the illusion of it being something other than clay kind of works almost too well, doesn't it?
yeah, it's almost like you want to remind people that this is plasticine
Yeah, yeah.
because it's more impressive
Oh yeah, definitely.
than just like it. You might as well animate it, I suppose,
Mm,
if no one can tell it's made of something,
yeah.
then it's
I feel
real.
like the only thing that bests a really well done like stop motion film is behind the scenes of a stop motion film. When you see how they do it, you're like, what?
Yeah.
That's that scene I just watched that was that was perfectly fluid, and then like you just see how long it took them
Do
to
you know what? And it's
do.
mad. Like when I went, they had this setup, and it was a kitchen because they were doing an advert, and it was like the advert was like with these little plasticine people
Mm,
climbing about in a kitchen,
right.
but the kitchen was full sized.
Really?
Yeah, so it was like you were on this set for. It was like some strange advert because they do way more than you'd realise as well.
Mm,
So any advert you see with claymation in,
yeah.
it's odds are it's them, especially over here.
Yeah.
But it was just weird, and you just start to think like some of the sets are, as you'd imagine, some are massive,
Mm,
and it's like you see this whole studio and you realise how much effort goes into them,
yeah.
and the cameras are tiny
All
because they
right.
use like obviously they basically use photos, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's bizarre, amazing though,
Yeah.
same time. But yeah, to go back to Grizzly Tales. The stop motion was so like it was gritty, wasn't it, and
Mm,
almost crap.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's borderline bad.
yeah, because it looked like something like a student had done,
Yeah.
but it kind of added to the gruesomeness of it.
Yeah. It fit really well.
Yeah, and it kind of helped because as well some of it was really horrible. Like you got all them little spiders crawling around.
Mm,
The actual sort of what is he, a caretaker or something?
yeah. Something like that.
He was horrible, really, and he was just a bloke, but he had
Yeah.
nasty veiny eyes, his wrinkled face.
Yeah. He's kind of like melty face kind of
Yeah,
situation.
and he could have been quite scary.
Yeah.
So it kind of helped that it was such like you know shambolic version of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But
then when you go into the 2D stuff, like I'm sure there was a point when I felt like minor bit of like anxiety while watching it. Like I don't know whether it was like the weird music in the background, and then I think the part of the narration was quite loud, and like I don't know if it just got overwhelming, but also like the way that they draw the house and the environment, like everything's almost like surreal. Like the proportions are very like bent and wonky, and like it feels like you kind of in some sort of weird warping room a lot of the time. So
yeah,
like yeah, I feel it it was, I don't know if it became like weirdly claustrophobic or something at some point. I remember being like, oh, this is a bit, hold on, I had to like do a breathing exercise or something.
get a paper bag out.
Yeah, like, oh, that was close.
I think
So yeah.
what is it like? I feel like I've not seen this in ages, and it was. I don't mean just the show. But part like what they did, and it's something I remember loads from sort of, childhood years that I've not seen in anything new. And maybe it's just because I've not watched the right things, but it felt like you knew it was storybooks
Yeah.
that were written. So like you were very aware that you could go out, buy a book, and it was probably told straight from the book,
Mm.
which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. You don't really get that,
Because
do you?
no, like I say, maybe it's just the case that I imagine maybe really young kids stuff might still do that. But I mean, this isn't necessarily for like really young kids, is it?
No.
I mean, it can be, but it's still like
It's a bit spooky.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
spooky.
too spooky. But yeah, and it had it had an original spooky feel. I will say, of everything we've watched so far, this felt the most like spooky as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I would say the story had less spooky elements.
Yeah.
So
Less
like,
spook, but felt more spooky.
like the first one, obviously a major part of mummy mania.
Yeah.
So you've got mummies everywhere.
Yeah.
The second one like had every other monster going,
Mm.
but none of them were really spooky.
No.
Or really, I mean, I guess the first one sort of did capitalize on it, but it wasn't going for that.
No.
The second one didn't necessarily capitalize on its own spookiness. This one didn't, like the most it had was a weird old Cockney man.
Which, I mean, I guess, depending on the circumstances, could be well spooky, but
but it was still spookier than the others that we watched.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not like scary.
No.
It's perfect for its audience, I think.
Yeah, and I think it reaches, it's in that really nice sort of point in the middle where it's like, it's kind of scary in a way, but like not scary at the same time.
Yeah.
It's in that weird little bubble of, what makes Halloween nice.
And I think, it's possibly like the fact that they didn't do it. Maybe if they did the whole thing in that same claymation, it would be a bit more horrifying.
Yeah.
Just because they're a bit ugly and a bit, but the art style for the animation is quite friendly. At the same time, so, and it reminds you of a storybook, so it makes you feel a bit more like, oh these kids.
That's it. I think that helps. I guess maybe if you told the tale of, if you saw the alligators and the spiders and stuff in that horrible clay, you'd have been like, oh no, it's gone too much, this is too much.
And it probably would have dated it as well.
That's true. But I do like that it's a really weird, it's got a really odd moral tale to it as well, like, which is basically just don't be naughty and don't lie. But it's just told in the weirdest way. which I quite like, because it's not just something you've heard a million times before.
And it like, while it still is as well. It's somehow original. And it's really, when you really think about it, like you say, it's dead outlandish, like that they get laid in eggs and stuff. But when you watch it, you just think like, oh yeah, that'll teach you. All right then. Well, shall we go on and do our reviews?
Yes. Spooky Fest, come down, where we have something very different and frightening for you. You're tired of mummies, you're tired of vampires, you're tired of things from the lake, but you're still terrified of the horrible Cockney man.
All right, love, don't soil those panties.
Enter the haunted house, where things don't move quite the right way. What's that in the mirror? What's that broken glass in the window? Wait, is that a horrible Cockney man?
It's me, the Cockney. Make sure you close all the doors. There's a charge.
Enter the labyrinthine maze made of maize. Go this way, turn left, turn right. Oh no, it's a dead end, and you're seen by the horrible Cockney man.
Called on the cob, anyone?
Take a journey on the runaway train. It came off the rails long, long ago, and this time it's driven by a horrible Cockney man.
Choo choo, I see you.
Oh, the terror is over, and you're home, safe.
Boys and girls. Okay, so here at Toon Jam we have a 3-point spooky rating system. It's not really spooky. Thumbs up, you've gone to the cinema. Thumbs down, it's a spooky cinema. And shaky middle, they throw bugs on you during the film. So thumbs up good, thumbs down bad, shaky middle. Sorry, that was caught a spider in my throat apparently.
Oh.
Spooky.
Spooky.
So Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think from the get-go, it does look very Grizzly, with the claymation. The narration's really fun. He's a very scary Cockney fellow when he's in clay, and then the story's told very well, with emphasis on odd things that you probably wouldn't choose yourself. The voices are all pretty fun and different enough, so you know what character's what. And like, I do like that it's just like, a very odd fable that no one would probably ever want to tell you.
Yeah.
I think that's quite cool. And even though it is British, it didn't. I think because he was basically doing weird voices most of the time, it didn't bother me as much as it normally does, I suppose. And the 2D animation style is so left field that it gave me a panic attack. So I think that all means that collectively it's going to be a thumbs up, I think, for Grizzly Tales.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Wasn't what you expected, I imagine.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you say. It's hard to knock this really in any way. I mean, even starting off, I was saying I'd rather it all have been in claymation, but then when you really think about it, it doesn't make sense to do it all in claymation. And it is nice that they do it in different things, because it kind of gives the, opening scene. I mean, the only time I can think you've seen this in a spooky thing is with Tales from the Crypt Keeper and those kind of things.
Yeah.
But it is nice that it does it in a different animation, because it separates it straight away.
It.
And it does have a charming Britishness about it that is, I guess, fall victim to nostalgia a little bit. But I like that about it as well. And the story is just, it's bonkers, but not in a way that necessarily you don't come out like flipping it. That was insane. It's only when you really think about it that it's like, oh yeah, actually that just made not much sense, but it did. So yeah, like really enjoyed it. So thumbs up from me as well.
Oh, look at that.
And it was the spookiest one.
Definitely, yeah, definitely the spookiest one.
It's like what we wanted from a spooky cartoon, actually trying to be spooky.
That's it.
I'd go as far as say it's probably of all the Halloween cartoons we've watched and stuff, it's probably the best one since Tales from the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. So yeah, good. We've had a good Halloween this year.
Yeah.
Right. So far, we're on a roll. We've got one more next week, the final Halloween episode. So make sure you're all dressed in your spookiest gear, ready for that. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope it was either a stroll down memory lane or an introduction to something you thought you would never have heard of in your life. If you did enjoy today's episode, please rate and review us on whatever you listen to us. It helps us out so much, and it's free to do. It's super easy, takes 2 seconds, helps us out infinitely. So that's awesome. If you want more bonus episodes, you can go over to our Patreon, and that's it's got a whole backlog of different sagas and episodes we've been through, from unaired pilots to video games and all sorts. So check that out. Otherwise, if you want to get in touch with us at all, you can do so on the 3 bizarre nannies of the internet: Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Toon Jam Pod, and just say hi. Why not? Yeah. But until next time, as always, stay spooky.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening. If you want to help the show keep going, you can be extra jammy by heading over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/toonjampod. Here you can get a shout out on the show or unlock bonus episodes. Ratings and reviews anywhere you listen to the podcast also really help us out. So thank you, and stay jammy.